The galaxy was vast, ancient, and carefully measured. Civilizations spanned hundreds of star systems, each more advanced than the next. Ships moved with precision, armies were built on strategy, and technology was calculated to perfection. Yet in all this order, the arrival of a single, tiny human ship would ripple through the stars in ways no one had imagined. Captain Alina Rivas sat at the controls of the Dauntless, her ship small, fragile-looking, and far outclassed by the massive alien warships that patrolled the sector. She glanced at the navigation panel. The lights blinked in a pattern she had come to trust, but even she felt the weight of the moment. Beyond the viewport, stars stretched endlessly, a silent audience to humanity's first real journey into the unknown. Alina's crew of 4 humans moved quietly, each focused on their instruments. Unlike the humans, advanced Earth colonies, these humans were a small exploratory team. They were not soldiers, they were explorers, scientists, engineers, but they carried a spark of something alien technology could not replicate: unpredictability. The first signal came like a whisper. Alien scanners had detected the ship long before it crossed into the core systems. From a distance, the humans seemed insignificant, a tiny speck against the enormous expanse of space. Yet the readings were unusual. The energy signatures were chaotic, inconsistent, even inefficient by alien standards. Most alien analysts concluded that the humans were primitive, perhaps incapable of serious space travel beyond their own system. "Captain," a voice said, breaking the silence. Lieutenant Marcos, young but sharp, pointed to the sensor screen. "We've got something on the scanners, multiple fleets approaching." Alina looked at the screen. Sure enough, small formations of alien ships were converging, their movements coordinated, their intentions clear. The humans were being observed and possibly judged. "Let them come," she said calmly. "We'll see what they expect." The alien ships were unlike anything humans had built before. Sleek, angular, glowing with energy fields that pulsed rhythmically, they moved with a precision that seemed almost alive. And yet, for all their sophistication, they were predictable. Alina had watched hours of alien fleet patterns in simulations. She knew their strengths and their weaknesses. The first test came in the form of an asteroid field, dense and treacherous. Alien patrols assumed the humans would struggle. Most species relied on AI for navigation in such environments, but their systems were designed to calculate the most efficient path, not the safest or most creative. Alina grinned. "We don't need efficiency, we need cleverness." With a sudden burst, the Dauntless weaved through the field, moving in unpredictable patterns. Marcos gasped. "No one could do that. They won't expect it," Alina replied. "Humans don't always follow the rules." Indeed, the alien ships faltered. Their AI tried to predict the humans' path, but every calculation failed. One by one, patrols slowed, hesitated, then altered course. By the time the humans emerged from the field, the alien fleets were scattered, confused, and even a little afraid. "This is unusual," a voice crackled from one of the alien ships. The translator rendered it into broken English. "They survive." Alina didn't respond. She didn't need to. The human crew worked seamlessly, adjusting the ship, rerouting power, recalibrating shields. What seemed fragile was anything but. Hours passed. The humans traveled deeper into the sector, gathering data, scanning for resources, and observing alien behavior. All the while, the alien fleets struggled to comprehend a species that didn't act according to expectation. Finally, the humans approached the edge of a neutral planet, a world unclaimed and quiet. Alina decided to land. Not because they needed supplies, they were self-sufficient, but because she wanted to see, to understand. Humans had always been explorers, not conquerors. The descent was smooth. The Dauntless touched the planet's surface gently, its landing gear settling onto the rocky terrain. The air was breathable but thin, and the temperature fluctuated wildly. A perfect world for studying, she thought. Then she saw movement. At the edge of the landing zone, hidden among jagged rocks, something watched. Alien eyes, invisible to the naked human eye but detectable by the ship's sensors. Someone or something had followed them. "Captain," Marcos whispered, pointing. "We're not alone." Alina studied the readings. "Let's keep calm. They're observing, not attacking yet." The crew stepped out carefully, scanning, recording, and taking samples. Human curiosity had no equal, and every step was cautious yet deliberate. They moved not as soldiers, but as beings who understood risk and opportunity equally. The alien observer did not approach. It merely watched, invisible, hidden, waiting for a moment to report back. But it underestimated humans. They did not fear the unknown. They studied it, adapted to it, and often found ways to turn it to their advantage. Back aboard the Dauntless, Alina reviewed the ship's sensors. She noticed patterns in the alien behavior, subtle inconsistencies in their fleet coordination. They were powerful, yes, but rigid. Every maneuver could be predicted once the logic was understood, and humans were masters at learning patterns. "They think they understand us," Alina said softly. "They do not." She looked out at the stars again. Somewhere far across the galaxy, alien civilizations whispered about this tiny human ship. They debated what to do, some called for caution, others for destruction. But no one could agree, for humans were unpredictable. They could survive, adapt, and even outsmart. Marcos looked over her shoulder. "Captain, do you think they'll attack?" Alina smiled faintly. "If they do, they'll regret it." For hours, the humans explored the planet, gathering data and learning. They repaired minor systems, ran experiments, and even rested. Yet above them, unseen and unrecognized, alien fleets hovered, debating the fate of a species they assumed was weak. And humanity, small, fragile, yet brilliantly adaptable, continued on, unaware of the galaxy's growing unease. They had arrived quietly, with nothing but curiosity and determination, but their presence would not remain quiet for long. Night fell on the alien planet. The humans gathered in the Dauntless, reviewing the day's discoveries. The crew laughed softly, joked about minor mishaps, and shared stories from Earth, a species' way of bonding in the face of the unknown. Alina allowed herself a rare moment of reflection. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and unpredictable. Yet humans had always thrived in unpredictability. Their survival did not depend on brute strength or advanced weaponry. It depended on creativity, adaptability, and a spark of courage that no alien race had ever encountered. The Dauntless hummed softly, the engines powering down for the night. Outside, stars shone like diamonds on black velvet, indifferent to the small human ship below. Yet within those stars, eyes watched. Curiosity, fear, and confusion stirred among alien civilizations. The tiny humans had arrived, and the galaxy was not ready. Alina's final words before sleep were calm, resolute. "We're here to explore, and nothing will stop us, not yet." Somewhere in the depths of space, alien leaders whispered warnings. A single human ship had appeared. Alone, fragile, and small, and already it had changed the course of the galaxy. The Dauntless rested, the humans slept, and the galaxy waited, unaware that the smallest spark can ignite a fire that changes everything. The galaxy was buzzing. Across countless star systems, intelligence networks reported the anomaly. A human ship, small, solitary, and unlike any species known. Alien analysts, engineers, and military leaders debated furiously. Was this a mistake? A probe? Or had humans truly ventured into the deep galaxy? On the planet below, the humans aboard the Dauntless were unaware of the chaos they had caused. Captain Alina Rivas stood at the viewport, studying the night sky. The stars, distant and cold, seemed unchanged, but she knew better. Somewhere across the void, countless eyes were watching. Lieutenant Marcos broke the silence. "Captain, our sensors are picking up unusual signals. Multiple transmissions, encrypted, possibly coordinated. Someone is observing us." Alina nodded. Prepare a response. But remember, humans communicate differently. They don't always follow logic. The alien transmissions came as a flurry of rapid pulses designed to confuse and overwhelm. Most species would collapse under the constant flow of data, but humans had an unusual tolerance for ambiguity. Alina and her crew intercepted the signals, then translated and responded in ways no alien intelligence expected. Instead of replying with rigid, predictable communication, Alina's messages were creative. Patterns, symbols, and language fragments from multiple alien cultures. The result was chaos among alien analysts. They are not following protocol, one voice exclaimed across the galactic network. What kind of species is this? Meanwhile, the human crew had begun a survey of the planet's surface. It was quiet, almost serene. Jagged rocks rose like ancient monuments and strange plants shimmered under the twin moons. Yet Alina knew better than to trust appearances. Alien scouts could be hiding anywhere, observing silently. Keep your heads on a swivel, she warned. Humans survive because we notice the details others ignore. Marcos, scanning the horizon, spotted something moving in the distance. Captain, a cloaked figure or some sort of observation device. Alina studied the sensor feed. The object was indeed cloaked, its energy signature faint but detectable. Let's not confront it directly, she decided. We'll draw it in on our terms. Humans had always been masters of improvisation. Using a combination of stealth signals and harmless decoys, Alina and her team created patterns that suggested the Dauntless was leaving the planet. The alien observer, curious and unable to fully interpret the signals, moved closer, unaware of the trap. Within minutes, the humans had detected the observer's presence in detail. Its shape, size, and energy source were cataloged. For a species that prided itself on control and predictability, this was a shock. The observer's technology was sophisticated, yes, but the humans had seen irregularities. Small flaws that suggested improvisation could exploit them. Alina smiled. They think they're in control. Let's show them humans are different. The next day, the humans prepared for departure. The Dauntless lifted off smoothly, engines humming softly. From orbit, the planet looked tranquil, unaware that a silent game had been played on its surface. But the galaxy did not remain quiet. Alien fleets, alerted to the humans' presence, began to converge. They underestimated the human speed, ingenuity, and willingness to act unpredictably. Massive ships moved into formation, their strategy simple: block the humans, contain them, and await reinforcements. The humans, however, were already anticipating this. Alina analyzed the data, noting patterns in the alien movement. They're strong, she said, but rigid. They calculate based on rules. We don't follow rules. Using decoy transmissions and rapid maneuvers, the Dauntless slipped between alien patrols. Where a direct confrontation would have been deadly, ingenuity provided a path forward. The humans turned the patrols' coordination against them, leading them into temporary dead zones and uncharted asteroid belts. The aliens were baffled. Impossible, one officer exclaimed. They anticipate every move. Alina's team worked together seamlessly. Engineers rerouted power to shields. Navigators calculated new escape routes, and scientists monitored alien communications. The small human ship moved with speed and efficiency, exploiting weaknesses that aliens considered irrelevant. Hours later, the humans reached a neutral zone, a sector monitored by multiple civilizations but controlled by none. It was here that first direct contact occurred. A single alien ship emerged, larger than the Dauntless, its hull covered in a shimmering, reflective surface. From its perspective, it was an intimidation tactic, a display of power meant to assert dominance over the humans. Alina observed carefully. They want to test us, she said. Let's see what they expect. Instead of fleeing or engaging directly, she used an unorthodox tactic. The Dauntless sent a broadcast of human symbols, basic mathematics, and simple patterns of light and sound, something alien intelligences were not trained to interpret emotionally. The effect was immediate. The alien ship paused, engines humming as the patterns disrupted their analysis systems. Human unpredictability created confusion. The ship could not process the stimuli fast enough to determine intent. They're communicating differently, the alien officer muttered. We cannot read them. Alina knew that fear was a powerful tool. Curiosity, caution, and respect, she whispered to her crew. These are the weapons humans use best. Suddenly, the alien ship attempted to force a blockade. Its massive hull blocked the path forward, forcing the humans into a narrow channel of space. Most species would have panicked. Humans, however, thrived in high-pressure situations. Marco's vector adjustments, Alina commanded. Use lateral thrusters, not main engines. We'll slip past their expectations. The Dauntless twisted and turned, using physics and ingenuity rather than brute force. Its small size allowed for maneuvers impossible for larger ships. The alien vessel tried to anticipate, but its massive size and programmed strategy made it slow and predictable. With a sudden burst, the human ship darted through the blockade, disappearing into a dense nebula that alien sensors could not penetrate. The humans emerged unscathed on the other side, their hearts racing but their spirits triumphant. This is remarkable, Marco said, still catching his breath. We actually did it. Alina smiled, but she remained calm. We've only begun. They'll learn fast and they'll try again, but humans adapt faster than anyone expects. Across the galaxy, alien fleets regrouped. Leaders demanded answers. How had such a small, solitary ship evaded their coordinated forces? Analysts argued over the human approach. Some suggested destruction, others curiosity. But one thing was clear: humans did not behave like any known species. Back on the Dauntless, the crew celebrated quietly, not with reckless joy but with a sense of pride and unity. They had survived first contact, not through superior firepower or overwhelming numbers, but through cleverness, flexibility, and trust in each other, a hallmark of humanity. Alina reviewed the data from the encounter. Every alien tactic, every communication pattern had been recorded. This was valuable information, not for war, but for understanding. Humans had always thrived on learning, adapting, and using knowledge to solve problems creatively. Captain, Marco said, pointing at the star map. They're sending another fleet, larger this time. They're trying to anticipate our moves. Alina nodded. Then we'll give them something to anticipate, but nothing they expect. Humans survive because we don't just react, we invent. We adapt, and we persist. The Dauntless moved forward into the unknown. The nebula cleared, revealing a region of space uncharted by humans but mapped by alien intelligence. The stars seemed brighter here, closer, almost daring the humans to proceed. For hours, the crew navigated silently, analyzing, learning, and preparing. The galaxy was vast, dangerous, and full of surprises. But humans had a unique advantage: imagination, courage, and the willingness to take calculated risks that no alien AI could predict. Finally, the humans reached a point where the alien fleets could no longer immediately respond. It was temporary, a reprieve, not a victory, yet it allowed them to make critical observations. Alina gathered her crew. Today, we showed them humans are not to be underestimated. Tomorrow, we'll see what else the galaxy has in store. But remember this: we are small, but we are capable, and the galaxy is not ready for us. Marcos looked at her with admiration. It feels incredible to be humans and to be here. Alina smiled faintly. We've always been ready. It's the galaxy that's just catching up. Above them, the stars shimmered, silent witnesses to humanity's first encounter. The aliens were cautious, confused, and curious. They had never faced a species like humans before, a species that survived, adapted, and thrived without relying on overwhelming strength. The Dauntless continued its journey, small but brilliant, moving steadily into the depths of space. And somewhere in the great expanse, the galaxy began to realize that the humans were more than a curiosity. They were a force that could not be ignored. For the humans, the adventure had only begun. They were explorers, scientists, and survivors. And as long as they remained clever, adaptable, and united, the galaxy would have to learn to respect them, whether it was ready or not. The galaxy had begun to take humans seriously. What had started as curiosity and dismissal had turned into unease. Across star systems, alien leaders debated the anomaly. A single human ship, small and seemingly fragile, had outmaneuvered fleets twice its size and outsmarted their intelligence systems. Captain Alina Rivas stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, her hands resting lightly on the controls. The crew moved efficiently around her, running diagnostics, monitoring sensors, and preparing for what they knew was coming. "We're not safe yet," Alina said. "They'll try something bigger, stronger, smarter, and we'll need to be faster and more clever than ever." Lieutenant Marcos, still young but sharp, nodded. "Captain, our sensors indicate a coalition forming. Multiple species are coordinating. They've sent warships, massive ones." Alina studied the readings. The ships were enormous, armed with weapons humans had never seen in action. Shields flickered with energy and engines pulsed like beating hearts. Most species would have panicked at the sight. Humans thrived on challenges. "They underestimate us," Alina said. "They think size and firepower are enough. They've forgotten something humans have always had: unpredictability." The coalition's ships moved in formation, their strategy precise, rigid, and designed for overwhelming force. But precision was a weakness when facing creativity. Alina had studied their movements and found patterns, a flaw in every plan. Humans did not follow rules, and that gave them an advantage no alien AI could anticipate. As the Dauntless approached the coalition, the aliens opened communications. Their tone was formal, commanding, even threatening. "You are instructed to halt and submit for examination," one voice said, translated into clear English. "Your presence is unauthorized." "Compliance is mandatory," Alina smiled faintly. "They want to test us," she said. "Let's give them a demonstration they won't forget." Instead of retreating, she engaged in what humans called improvisation. The Dauntless sent a series of false signals, suggesting multiple ships were emerging from behind nearby asteroids. In reality, it was a single human ship creating illusions, a technique alien minds struggled to interpret. The coalition faltered. Sensors picked up multiple false contacts, engines braked, weapons misfired. Confusion spread like wildfire among the ranks. A species that relied on rigid logic could not process such unpredictability. "Captain," Marcos said, eyes wide, "it's working. They're hesitating." Alina nodded. "Good, keep it steady. They'll recover, but we'll be ready." Suddenly, the coalition regrouped. This time, their strategy was different. They anticipated improvisation and adjusted their formations. The humans faced their most serious test yet. Massive ships surrounded the Dauntless, creating a net that seemed impossible to escape. "Stay calm," Alina said. "We do this one step at a time." Her crew moved seamlessly, each human performing multiple tasks at once. Engineers rerouted energy to shields and engines, while scientists monitored enemy movements. They were not soldiers, yet their teamwork was flawless, a human advantage alien militaries could not replicate. Then Alina made a bold decision. Using a combination of lateral thrusters, gravity manipulation, and clever navigation, the Dauntless slipped between two massive ships. It was risky. Any miscalculation would result in collision, but humans had always thrived in risk. The maneuver worked. The coalition was stunned. They had expected direct engagement or surrender, but humans had chosen a path no one predicted. They escaped," an alien officer muttered. Impossible, Alina smiled faintly. Nothing about humans is predictable, she said. The humans did not stop there. They exploited weaknesses in alien formations, leading parts of the coalition into asteroid belts, nebulae, and gravitational anomalies. Ships that relied on calculations and rigid strategy faltered, while humans adapted in real time. Hours passed. The coalition's frustration grew. Alien leaders debated how to counter the humans' ingenuity. Some wanted to retreat and regroup. Others demanded more aggressive tactics, but all agreed on one thing: humans were a problem they could not ignore. On the bridge of the Dauntless, Alina studied the coalition's movements. "They're powerful," she said, "but they think in one way, we think in many. That's our advantage. We survive because we can adapt faster than anyone else." Marcos nodded. "And because we don't give up." Alina's words were true. Humans had always thrived on adversity, finding solutions where others saw only obstacles. And in the vast emptiness of space, human creativity was a weapon more potent than any laser or missile. The coalition, growing desperate, sent a massive warship to block the dauntless path. Its size was intimidating, and its weapons radiated energy powerful enough to destroy smaller ships instantly. But Alina remained calm. "Prepare for diversion," she said. "We'll show them that humans are not only clever but fearless." Using a series of rapid maneuvers, the Dauntless created illusions of multiple ships emerging from the nebula. The coalition's sensors were overwhelmed, weapons firing at phantoms, energy wasted. Then, at the perfect moment, the human ship zipped past their defenses, disappearing into a field of gravitational anomalies. The massive warship tried to follow, but its size and rigidity made it slow and predictable. The humans had calculated every movement, every delay, exploiting physics in ways alien engineers had not considered. On board the Dauntless, the crew worked silently, monitoring sensors, adjusting systems, and celebrating small victories quietly. They did not revel in violence. They reveled in survival, in cleverness, in doing what no one expected. After hours of cat-and-mouse maneuvers, the humans found temporary safety near a neutral star system. It was a chance to repair, recharge, and plan their next moves. But Alina knew the challenge was far from over. The coalition would not give up. They would adapt, learn, and try again. "We've held them off," Marcos said, relief in his voice. "But they'll return, stronger." Alina nodded. "Then we'll be ready. We always are." Humans survive because we do not follow one path. We do not surrender to fear. We adapt and we innovate. The crew spent the next hours analyzing data from the encounter. Every movement of the coalition, every weakness, every miscalculation was recorded. Humans were learners, observers, and inventors. They did not merely fight. They understood, adapted, and overcame. Night fell over the star system. The humans aboard the Dauntless gathered in the observation deck, looking out at the stars. They were small, fragile, and alone, but brilliant in ways no alien fleet could match. Alina spoke softly, her eyes fixed on the horizon. "We've faced the challenge and survived. The galaxy underestimates us, and that is our strength." "They do not understand humans yet, but they will." Marcos glanced at her. "Do you think they'll respect us?" Alina smiled faintly. "Respect comes later. First, they must learn we are not to be ignored." Across the galaxy, the coalition convened. Alien leaders debated human behavior, shocked by a species so small yet so capable. Some suggested diplomacy, others caution, but all agreed that humans were unlike any other species. They survived challenges that would destroy others, adapted instantly, and outwitted fleets without resorting to violence. On board the Dauntless, the crew prepared to move forward. They were explorers, scientists, and pioneers. Their mission was not conquest but understanding, and in the process, they had sent a message to the galaxy. Humans were here, small but powerful in ways no alien could anticipate. Alina reflected on the day's events. Humans had always thrived in adversity, using ingenuity, teamwork, and courage to survive. And the galaxy, vast and ordered, was only beginning to realize that the humans were not weak. They were unpredictable, brilliant, and unbreakable. The Dauntless moved silently through space, leaving the temporary safety of the neutral star system. Ahead lay more challenges, more alien fleets, and more opportunities to demonstrate humanity's strength. And somewhere across countless star systems, alien civilizations whispered about the tiny human ship that had outsmarted fleets, survived impossible odds, and refused to surrender. Elena looked at her crew, her expression resolute. "We are humans," she said. "We do not give up. We adapt, we survive, and we will continue to do so no matter what the galaxy throws at us." Marcos smiled. "Then let's show them what humans are truly capable of." The Dauntless accelerated into the darkness, small but fearless. The galaxy had presented its challenge, and humanity was ready. For the humans, the journey was only growing more intense, but they thrived in intensity. They thrived in risk. And most of all, they thrived in being human, clever, adaptable, and unstoppable. The coalition of alien fleets had learned one undeniable fact: humans were not a species to underestimate. Across the galaxy, intelligence networks buzzed with reports of a single human ship, the Dauntless, outmaneuvering massive warships, confusing AI systems, and surviving impossible odds. Alien leaders convened in emergency councils, debating the next step. The consensus was clear. They needed a decisive confrontation. Captain Elena Rivas stood on the bridge, staring at the data feeds. Multiple fleets were approaching. This time it was not a probe, not a small patrol. It was a massive force, a combined armada from several species, each fleet filled with powerful ships, advanced weaponry, and heavily armed drones. Lieutenant Marcos, still young but wise from countless hours observing alien tactics, turned to her. "Captain, this is it. They're sending everything they have." Elena's expression remained calm. "Then we show them who humans are. Not with firepower, but with cleverness, adaptability, and courage. That is our strength." The Dauntless moved through space with precision. Its engines hummed, shields pulsed, and sensors scanned every detail. Despite the overwhelming odds, the humans did not panic. They had survived before, not through force, but through thinking, creativity, and teamwork. The alien fleets approached in perfect formation, confident that their size and technology would ensure victory. They fired warning shots, energy pulses that could disable most ships instantly. The Dauntless dodged each one with remarkable agility, using maneuvers no alien strategist could have predicted. "Marcos now," Elena said. "Deploy the decoys." The human crew activated holographic projections, creating the illusion of multiple ships emerging from behind asteroid fields and nebula clouds. Alien sensors were overloaded. Weapons locked onto phantoms that did not exist. Confusion spread through the coalition. One alien commander barked orders. "Concentrate fire. Do not let them escape." But the humans were already moving through their ranks, slipping between massive ships, exploiting every weakness, and turning alien coordination against itself. Elena observed their reactions carefully. "They think they can predict us," she said quietly. "They are wrong. Humans are not predictable." Suddenly, one of the largest enemy warships surged forward, attempting to corner the Dauntless. Its weapons glowed with destructive energy. For most species, facing such power would mean certain defeat. But humans had something no alien technology could match: imagination. Using gravity wells generated by nearby asteroids, lateral thrusters, and rapid, unpredictable maneuvers, the Dauntless zipped past the massive ship. It avoided direct confrontation, yet demonstrated mastery over physics in a way alien engineers had not anticipated. "Captain, their flagship is trying to trap us," Marcos said, eyes wide. "It's enormous. We can't outrun it directly." Elena smiled. We won't outrun it, we'll outthink it. The humans executed a series of rapid, unconventional tactics. They used reflected starlight to blind sensors temporarily. They generated false energy signatures that mimicked multiple ships. They exploited weaknesses in alien AI, feeding it data that created internal conflicts in targeting systems. Each move was simple by human standards but revolutionary in effect. Alien fleets scrambled to respond, but every counter was anticipated, redirected, or nullified by human ingenuity. Hours passed in tense silence. The humans were exhausted, but their resolve never wavered. Each maneuver, each decision, highlighted the defining traits of humanity: creativity, courage, and relentless determination. Finally, the Dauntless reached a position directly in front of the Coalition's flagship. The massive vessel loomed, its energy shields glowing, weapons ready to fire. It was a confrontation that should have been impossible. Elena spoke calmly to her crew. "This is the moment to show them what humans truly are. We do not destroy for victory. We demonstrate strength through cleverness and resolve." With a steady hand, she engaged the ship systems in a sequence the aliens could not interpret. Using a combination of energy redirection, sensor manipulation, and precise movement, the Dauntless bypassed the flagship's defenses and transmitted a single, unmistakable message: "We are humans. We are not weak. We come in peace, but we are capable of anything necessary to survive." The message reverberated across alien communication channels. Fleet commanders stared at their displays, confused, uncertain, and strangely humbled. No species had ever confronted them with such audacity without resorting to brute force. The flagship's captain attempted to retaliate, but the Dauntless anticipated every move. Energy weapons misfired, shields were disrupted, and targeting systems went offline temporarily. The humans did not destroy a single ship. They demonstrated superiority through cleverness and unpredictability. Marcos exhaled. "Captain, they're retreating. They're stopping the attack." Elena nodded. "They are learning slowly. Humans survive not because we are stronger, but because we are smarter, adaptable, and courageous." Across the galaxy, reports poured in. Analysts, scientists, and leaders debated what they had witnessed. The humans were not merely surviving. They were rewriting the rules of engagement, forcing species long accustomed to dominance to rethink their assumptions. The Coalition began to withdraw, regroup, and reassess. Alien officers admitted, privately and unwillingly, that humans were a species that could not be predicted or controlled. Some argued for diplomacy, others for caution. All agreed that underestimating humans again would be a grave mistake. Back on the Dauntless, the crew celebrated quietly, sharing smiles and relief. They had faced the galaxy's most powerful fleets and emerged unscathed, not through violence but through ingenuity, teamwork, and the human spirit. Elena addressed her crew. "Today, we've done more than survive. We've made a statement. The galaxy will remember that humans are not weak. They may not understand us yet, but they will learn, and we will continue to explore, to discover, and to thrive." Marcos looked at her, admiration in his eyes. "We've changed the galaxy with one ship," Elena smiled. "One ship, yes, but every human carries that same spark: ingenuity, courage, and unpredictability. That is our advantage. That is what makes us human." The Dauntless continued its journey through uncharted space. Stars stretched endlessly before them, silent witnesses to humanity's first decisive encounter. For the humans, the adventure had only begun. The galaxy was vast, full of mysteries, dangers, and wonders, but humans were ready. Not because they were the strongest, but because they were clever, adaptable, and unbreakable. Somewhere, across countless star systems, alien species whispered about the tiny human ship that had confronted fleets and survived. They debated, speculated, and planned, but one truth was undeniable: the galaxy had never seen a species like humans. Alina gazed at the stars, thinking of Earth, of humanity, and of the endless possibilities ahead. "We have made our mark," she said softly. "And this is just the beginning." Marcos leaned against the railing. "Do you think they'll ever stop fearing us?" Alina shook her head. "Fear is not what they feel. They are curious now. They want to understand humans. And that is where we will continue to win, not with weapons but with our minds, our courage, and our will to survive." The Dauntless sailed on, small but fearless, carrying the first human message to the stars. Humans were here, unpredictable, resilient, and unstoppable. The galaxy in all its order was not ready. Above them, stars twinkled like distant fires. Each one was a world waiting to be discovered, a challenge waiting to be faced. And humanity would rise to every challenge, not with overwhelming power, but with ingenuity, courage, and the unyielding human spirit. For humans, survival was not just a goal, it was a way of being. And now the galaxy would never forget it. Alina looked at her crew, proud and resolute. "We've done something extraordinary," she said. "The galaxy has seen what humans are capable of, and we will continue to explore, to learn, and to inspire. The future is ours to shape." Marcos smiled. "Then let's see what comes next." The Dauntless accelerated into the void, a single ship carrying the courage, ingenuity, and determination of all humanity. The galaxy had not expected them, and it would take generations to catch up. And in that moment, humanity's statement was clear. Small, alone, and underestimated, humans were a force the galaxy could neither ignore nor control. The stars stretched endlessly, and the Dauntless sailed into history, the first of many human adventures among the stars.